Would you like to have flowers in your garden long before your neighbors? Then sow with me these flowers right now at the beginning of February. After 1 year of doing this with great success in my tiny Zone 6 garden, I want to convince you to start early too. First, I'll teach you the timeline of these flowers from seed to bloom. Then I'll show you how to sow 10 flower varieties. And I'll also share my super simple setup that you can replicate in a tiny corner of your own home. Okay, first let me explain why sowing flowers right now in February is going to work just fine. Yes, we are covered in snow. Thank you. And yes, we can expect snow even in April here in our Zone 6 in Romania, Eastern Europe. Hence my accent. But here's the trick. We are sowing some special flowers which are called hardy annuals. They actually like the cold and they can certainly take a bit of frost. So we sow them indoors in the first days of February. We grow them indoors for like 5 or 6 weeks and we plant them out in the middle of March. These young plants will survive outside from then forwards, even if it snows, even if it freezes. And I'll tell you for each plant the lowest temperature that they can survive. Wink. Okay, enough chit-chat about the weather. Without further ado, here's what we're sowing today. Number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Snapdragons! I love Snapdragons. Ever since I was a child, and I will go to their little mouths and go rah 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 rah. Now that's the sound of glory. I love Snapdragons. For this year, I've selected 4 varieties: Madame Butterfly Bronze, Madame Butterfly Pink, DoubleShot Peach, and Appleblossom. All of them are hardy to at least -8 degrees Celsius or 18 degrees Fahrenheit. The DoubleShot Peach are new to me this year and they should be the first ones to bloom, even in low light conditions, in about 70 days. Although I highly doubt it. They've got this mouth-watering peach, apricot, pink open flowers, and their seeds are super tiny like all Snapdragons. Now the next ones are the Appleblossom. Oh, I know these ones. Last year, for me, they went from seed to bloom in 2 months and 3 days. And boy, do I have the bouquets to prove it. But they were sown in May and they flowered in July. So now, because we are sowing them in the middle of winter, they will definitely take longer to bloom. And also, gorgeous as they were, they looked nothing like the packaging, but I'm not complaining. If you also want to have early blooming Snapdragons in your garden, but you can't find the DoubleShot series or the Appleblossom series, I suggest you try the Chantilly series, which is a group 2 Snapdragons, which are not sensitive to light hours and therefore will bloom early. Now, the Madame Butterfly Snapdragons will bloom later in the season. They take about 120 days from seed to bloom, but it's totally worth the wait. I've chosen the very trendy bronze variety, a much coveted shade of vintage, rich apricot, and the romantic Madame Butterfly Pink, because I love pink flowers and I'm not afraid to say it. They are the poster child for the azalea type Snapdragons. They grow tall and graceful and they last a long time in the vase. Number 5 and 6. Foxgloves. I love foxgloves. Super whimsical with freckles. If Thumbelina had a castle, it would surely be made of foxgloves. This year we're sowing two varieties, Dalmatian Peach and Foxy. Both of them flower in their first year, although typically foxgloves only flower the second years because they are biennials. And both of them make excellent cut flowers. Actually, all the flowers in my garden make great cut flowers, and I use them in bouquets all season long. But I digress. Back to the foxgloves. Dalmatian peach produces towers of swoon-worthy peachy blooms that slowly fade to a creamy pink, with freckles. And Foxy is a mix of mostly pink and white pastels. All foxgloves are poisonous to humans and pets. Their seeds are very tiny and they are hardy down to a zone 4. In other words, down to minus 30 degrees Celsius or minus 22 Fahrenheit. Number 7. Verbena Bonariensis Violet Lilac. She grows so tall and airy that you can put it anywhere in the garden. She's almost see-through, even in big clumps. Last year, I bought one plant from a local nursery. Not cheap at all. But this year, I plan to swim in Verbena Bonariensis grown from seed and feel rich beyond compare. But on the not so bright side, this flower is only hardy down to minus 5 degrees Celsius or 23 degrees Fahrenheit. And for me, it never lasted more than 3 days in my bouquets. Please let me know in the comments if you had better success with verbena as a cut flower. Number 8. Icelandic poppies. The champagne bubbles mix in white, yellow, pink and orange with huge blooms loved by flower farmers everywhere. Tiny seeds, so I'm oversowing just to be on the safe side. Fussy seedlings prone to dumping off. But when they finally bloom, oh, the glory! Everyone thinks they're fake because they're so big and they look like crepe paper. And they're real! Oh my god, Icelandic poppies, I can't wait. Hardy down to minus 23 degrees Celsius or minus 9 Fahrenheit. At number 9, I'm sowing Larkspur, and this is a new one for me. My neighbors got them running wild on the outside of his fence, stemming from the cracks in its pavement. What an explosion of life and color! I can't live without them anymore. I just got the garden variety mix from the hardware store. Nothing fancy because it's my first year trying them out. And this way, if they don't germinate or they don't bloom, I will not lose my sanity crying over expensive seed. Speaking of which, their seed is huge compared to everything else that we've sown today. It also needs some darkness to germinate. So we simply make a hole with this tiny paintbrush, pop the seed inside and cover it back up with soil. Ta-da! And the minimum temperature for Larkspur is minus 18 degrees Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Last but not least, standing proud at number 10, Coleus, the underdog in my current selection. Colorful not through its flowers but through its leaves. Not hardy at all. You can only plant it outside once the nighttime temperatures consistently reach 15 degrees Celsius or 60 degrees Fahrenheit. But my Evel Knievel plan is to grow them indoors, under lights, for a long time, so that I can enjoy some color in my life until the daffodils and the tulips decide to make an appearance come spring. Also, this is my first year growing Coleus from seed, so I bought the inexpensive mix from the hardware store. Again, a tiny seed. Overseeding just because I can. Fingers crossed, wish me luck! Okay, so these are all the seeds that we had for today. Snapdragons, 4 varieties, foxgloves, 2 varieties, Verbena Bonariensis, Icelandic Poppies, Larkspur and Coleus. And now for something completely different, a quick presentation of my seedling station. I've set it up in my bedroom behind the door. I bought a narrow mini glass house, which is just an overglorified vertical shelf with a plastic hood on top. I attached 2 grow lights for each shelf. I haven't got any heat mats. I just keep the seeding soil inside the house for a month before the sowing to make sure that it stays warm. And until now, I've never had any problems germinating anything. I don't cover the cells with a dome or any plastic film. I just close up the plastic hood and it keeps the moisture in just fine. And very important, I water only from the bottom, which is a lesson I learned the hard way. If you liked my sewing session, please subscribe for more. I'm only starting out, and this would give me great courage to continue. If you've got any questions at all, please leave me a comment and I will answer you very quickly. Thank you for sewing flowers with me, and see you next time.